Friends of the Earth on your last tour, and I wondered if this tour must have helped them out a lot. I imagine, did it not? Are they able to do new things now?
Yeah, I think, it has helped them. They certainly got back in touch with us and said, thanks for kind of getting our name known around the world and stuff. Yeah, it's really been good. The main thing, rather than the group themselves, the Friends of the Earth, being thankful, which they are, the main thing I like is the kids writing me letters and saying, okay, I did a lecture at my school and I used your tour brochure for the information. That's great to think that it's got around like that, because that's who I'm interested in, is that the young kids with the message.
Have you rearranged your life in any way for ecological reasons? I mean, we see this more and more people are like having different disposal systems and paper here, cans here, and stuff like that. Have you totally like rearranged your...
Yeah, I think it is happening generally. I'm not any more special than the next person, but instead of throwing away your Coke cans now, they sort of tend to go in a sack to go somewhere, I mean, I'm not a great expert on this, but yeah, you do little things,
I'd heard that there was a story somebody told me about that you're a vegetarian, that you had been liberating lobsters in London. How does this work?
It was a great story, actually. It wasn't true, unfortunately. It was a terrific story.
Talk about it anyway.
Yeah. No, it actually just appeared in the papers. And I just thought, well, I won't ring them up and tell them I haven't been liberating lobsters. I mean, it's a good story. I don't care, The nearest thing we ever did to that was we were on holiday in the Caribbean, and a local fisherman caught a beautiful turtle, big sea turtle. And we went, oh, wow, And he said, $10, $10. And right on, bought the sea turtle. He heard, unfortunately, we said we were going to release it, and then he wouldn't sell it to us.
Really?
He said, no, you're going to, if we had it as soup, fine, $10, no problem. The minute he thought we were going to release it round in the next bay, I think actually he thought that the great god of turtles would never send him another turtle again. I think it was that kind of thinking, So we had to give it him back. It was really depressing, But that's as near as we got to saving lobsters, the sea turtle once.
Are you a great proselytizer of this? I mean,
I don't even know what that means, Kurt.
Well, it means that if you go somewhere and say, you shouldn't be eating meat, I don't eat meat, you shouldn't do it. Are you one of those people? Or
No, just the opposite. In fact, it's sometimes very embarrassing being vegetarian, because people sort of say, oh, I'm sorry I'm eating this meat. It's your life, man. I'm not going to tell you what to do. I mean, I say I don't want to preach it. I don't even want to proselytize it.
Or whatever.
Sounds like an operation, then.
Well, let's get off the farm.
How's your proselytize?
That's pretty good. I got it prepared.
God.
There seems to be a growing vogue for Live and Let Die. There's a band called Jellyfish that does this as an opening song, and Axl Rose from Guns N' Roses is going to record on the next Guns N' Roses album. They're doing Live and Let Die.
Great, man.
What is the story of that song? How did you were handed this movie and you had to come up with a song, and it was difficult to sort of...
Well, when you're a songwriter, there's, in the old days, the thing of a songwriter, when I was like about 14, used to be to write a song for Sinatra. That was like the highest accolade for it. Well, after you're 14, as you got to 20, that wasn't the case anymore, because rock and roll had come in. So then the highest accolade became to sort of write like a big film song, and like a Bond feature song, or a title song from a big movie. And I was offered Live and Let Die. The most difficult thing is to write to a title like that.
Yeah, really.
Because you've got to...
It's an unlikely
it's
title.
writing backwards. It doesn't just arrive. In a nice song, you go, diddly-diddle, I believe in yesterday. Ooh, that's a good title. But, you're working the other way. You've got to try and figure the whole thing out from the title. And
not a romantic title either.
It's not really.
A little difficult.
So, but it just came easily. I just sort of thought, right, I'll go that way. When you were young, you used to say live and let live. Now you say live and let die. That's kind of enough to start me off.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you about a few other songs, too, because I just think the idea of where they came from would be interesting to toy around with. One of them was Maybe I'm Amazed. Did your songs all come from the same place? I mean, did you just sit down and get an idea, or are they all created differently?
Yeah, hopefully they're all created differently. I mean, because it's boring if they all just come from the same place every time. It's just like churning it out. If you're lucky, you get an inspiration, either if you sit down at the piano or guitar, whatever it is you're going to play on. Just something happens, you'll get a little, ding, a little light bulb will go off, and you go, oh, okay, great, that's my direction. This was written very early on when Linda and I just got together, and it was kind of what we sort of call our funky period. We were living pretty funky with just the kids, two-bedroom house. It wasn't at all the sort of rich Beatles living at all. We were getting away from that whole thing. Like the Beatles used to get your Christmas tree bought for you by the office. And you just thought, well, this is how everyone lives, you know. And we now, when Linda and I got together, it was like, sod it, we'll just go down the street. I've seen them, they're £8, you know. Let's go and pick up our own Christmas tree. So we were living very like that and just doing it. Funny, actually, we just saw Ringo and Barbara, and that's their big new buzz.
They're buying their own Christmas trees.
They're absolutely. Well, it's funny though, you know, most people watching would think, well, everyone buys their own, but it was something we had to break out of, being too dependent on the office and the machinery. So this was written just about that period, and it was about me and Linda, really, and I just sat down at the piano and got this "maybe I'm amazed" phrase that kind of stayed through the whole thing. And then I wanted, you know, you hung me on a line. I wanted a few sort of, you know, less pretty things, because it wasn't all pretty what we were going through. It was fairly, it was a little bit tough because of the breakup of the Beatles and Apple, and, you know, it was fairly hair-raising, you know. Baby, I'm amazed.